We're here for the deal makers, the revenue generators, the margin expanders, for distributors, manufacturers, and retailers, for the Lone Ranger, calculating rebates in spreadsheets, and the large teams overseeing complex deals. We're here to connect rebate experts with each other, to build a community of leaders and forward thinkers, to help you connect with other rebate experts so you can learn from each other and grow your careers. It's time to join the most exclusive community for rebate strategy on the internet. We're here for the rebate strategists.
We are here live and direct from Toronto, Canada. This is the Great Rebaters. I'm here, Reggie Waterman, aka The Gator, here alongside my co-host. You want to say your name? Or no? You don't want to say your name?
The Professor.
All right, and we're here. No, it's Happy New Year. Happy fiscal year. We just celebrated something. An end of a fiscal year. And we've had some great achievements. We are here because today we tuned into a sales kickoff. And we had the opportunity to talk about our achievements, awards were given out, and the theme was about raising the bar. And we have two champions as our guests. Mark, do you want to just introduce our champions?
Sure. And I'll do this in a way that I keep my job. Firstly, we have Jerry. Jerry is Global President of Field Operations.
Nearly.
You got it.
Good job.
Nearly. It's not right.
I think it's President of Global Field Operations.
Tomato.
That's fine.
That's the English version.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah?
He is global, though.
And then we have Andrew, our CEO. Our founder, our visionary,
good
the
thing
man
you
who
got that
makes
right.
it happen. And they are going to talk to us today about
Their origin story. We need to find out how these two met. We need to go back in time to kind of unravel. Hey, you had a vision, Andrew, for Enable. You shared that vision among your peers. And David Hunt, your co-founder, you guys came up with this brilliant idea, right? And we can go into that story as well. But in particular, we want to know how you two met. Talk to us about that, because I think that's interesting.
I saw him across the crowded room. Our eyes met.
Let's talk about that. Go ahead, Andrew. How did you meet? How did you come across this mesmerizing specimen of a man?
Breathtaking.
Mesmerizing is a good word, and you're not the first person to use the word mesmerizing about Jerry.
It's true.
So it's a really good word. But yeah, I first heard about Jerry because I was meeting investors in Silicon Valley. At the time, we were only in the UK, so we hadn't got anyone in the US at all, and we were bootstrapping. And my kind of dream was to raise some capital in the US to really fund the growth of the company. And at that time, and we're going back now, late 2019, okay, November, December 2019, we had a good product, and we had some great engineers, and we'd built some good early customers, so things were good, but we really didn't have a revenue organization. We had one or two people, salespeople, but it was very, very small. And Mark, you'll remember the kind of size of our revenue org back then. It was very small. So my dream was to raise capital and then start building a revenue org and start scaling this product that we had and get it into the hands of a lot more customers. And one of the investors I was meeting was Menlo Ventures. Really great guys, really well-known investors. They invested in Uber and many other places. And almost by chance, just before meeting Menlo for the first time, someone emailed me and said, look at this company. It's a Menlo company that's just been acquired by Workday, and it's actually got some similarity to Enable. And this was a company called Scout RFP, and it was an RFP platform where companies could get suppliers to submit proposals online. And Menlo had written some articles about this company on why it had been so successful, and there was a lot of common ground with Enable. So when I went to Menlo, I mentioned Scout, and I said, congratulations on your exit. We can be the next Scout. Enable can be the next Scout. And to get to your point and the question here, the chief revenue officer at Scout, who really had created that hypergrowth, was Jerry. So that's the first time that I heard about the existence of Mr. Brooner. November 2019 with Menlo.
So I love that, because it's like, it brings me to my next question. First impressions, like you've heard about, you got a solid recommendation, right? You finally had a chance to meet the man, the legend, Jerry.
Hardly.
First impressions.
Yeah.
Good vibes.
I mean, first of all, it was quite a long period, because I mentioned this is November 19, okay? Mm-hmm. And we got Menlo on board as our Series A lead in February 20, so it took a couple of months to kind of close that deal. And then Jerry and I didn't actually meet until about, I think it was November 20. So it was actually a year between hearing about the legend of Mr. Brooner and then actually meeting him. Because he was really busy. Scout were going through the process of being acquired. He was still growing, the company fast, and was definitely not available or looking for a new opportunity. And so it would have been a conflict of interest almost for me to start trying to talk to Jerry at that point. So it was a year between hearing about Jerry and our first meeting. But we can fast forward if you like. Do we do that?
Yeah, of course. Fast forward.
And it was good because I met the founder of Scout, and he actually invested in Enable. And the last thing I wanted to do was poach his revenue leader. Of course, I wouldn't want to do that.
But you did.
Yeah, I might have done anyway, but I didn't want to. So the great news was that it was the founder of Scout who introduced us. He actually said, I think it'd be good for you guys to meet. And Jerry would just be a great advisor, and he's just the most effective revenue leader I've ever had the pleasure to work with. So it'd be really good for you, Andrew, to meet Jerry, and he'll probably be happy to meet you from time to time and give you some advice. Yeah. So the first meeting was on Zoom. I think you were renovating your house at the time, and you were in the basement of your house, surrounded by kind of kitchens or something.
Yes.
But did he play it off like he had paint on like his clothing, or like instead of contractors, or
his hands? No.
No.
No. But we did agree you'd like to do some advisory work.
Yes.
Do you remember what I charged you for that advisory work?
Yeah. You said that I'd have to give you a good supply of tall boys.
Yes.
That was the compensation.
Tall boys.
Yeah. But I was like really spending about 10 hours of preparation for this, because I'd heard about Jerry, and now this was the first time I was going to meet him. So, and I was trying to make sure I made a positive impression. So I can remember that first Zoom call. And Jerry said he'd be happy to advise as long as I gave him a supply of tall boys.
He didn't know what tall boys were.
No.
So you thought you were going to speak to like a chief revenue officer, and you actually got on a Zoom call with a painter and decorator
Who wanted tall boys?
who wanted tall boys.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
So is that your vetting process, Jerry? Like when you're thinking about like new opportunities, and it's like, well, is this person going to provide me with a constant supply of tall boys?
Well, I mean, obviously priorities, that's the first one. But 1A right after that is, so I had known the space. And when I spent 10 years at SAP, I sold a competitive product. So I knew the space. And so when they asked for some advisory work, and I'd worked with this VC firm for 2 companies, so I knew them well. My vetting process was to gut check the founder and CEO. And so when he got on, I started asking questions. Mm-hmm. And I started saying like how well he knew the market, because I knew the market well. And then how well did he know his product? Pulled it right out, started to know. And then how big was his vision? How big was the vision, right? And what really struck me about it at that point, and I knew right there at that point, I was actually in Wyoming, I think, drinking tall boys. At that point, his acumen, and I've been fortunate to work at great companies, 2 IPOs, SAP, Scout, where his acumen for the market and how he was going to drive, not to 100 million, but to $1 billion. I knew right away the way he walked it. It's like I wanted to be part of the rocket ship. It wasn't quite a rocket ship at the time. Mm-hmm. It was more a plane, but we turned it into a rocket ship.
But isn't that the fascinating thing? Like you talk about like vision, and you had to, you wanted to hear the articulation of that vision, where it's going to lead, not just you, but the entire scale of and growth of the operations to the future, right? And it's a testament to what has been established today. And we're obviously going to talk about that in terms of what you scaled to, which is very impressive, right? And I think it speaks to the amount of people that have bought into that vision, right? And that, I feel, is the most exciting thing about Enable and what you have brought to the marketplace. So, Mark, we could have talked about the origins of like how Enable got started, but we felt like obviously it was important to start with these two, talk about their history, because it cascades into where we're going to be going into the future, the culture, right? Because the energy that you brought today for the sales kickoff was amazing. Like the audience here. Goodbye. Speaking of vision, have bought into what we're offering. This is exciting.
I mean, from my perspective, today, 466 enablees. Hopefully, at the end of this, there'll still be 466. So my question, Andrew, who is your favorite?
Well, I can't possibly have a favourite. We've got so many different functions here that make this thing work. So I've kind of been involved. My background is in programming and building software. I wasn't very very good at that ever. So fortunately we have engineers now that are much better than I was. But engineering is really important. Revenue is obviously very important. It's no good there's so many products out there which are great, but there's no one that buys them. So I couldn't possibly select a favourite person.
Well, because Cole, who's in the audience, he told me that you guys that he's the favourite.
Okay.
That's not true. It's TJ, actually. It's TJ.
Well, I probably tell a lot of people that, but Cole, you're still my favourite.
He actually told me that. I thought it was his favorite, but
What's your commit before I say anything? Order.
So, and both of you guys could answer this. Like, speaking of growth and what you've been able to achieve with this company, what is the most surprising thing about the growth, the hyper growth that you have experienced? What's that one thing that surprised you the most? You can talk about speed. You can talk about whatever.
I mean, I think the kind of breadth of the market is. I always knew that there were many different types of companies and people that would benefit from Enable, but I've been surprised by just how broad that's been. And so, for example, we always knew distribution and distributors were huge, okay, and that's where Mark and I met in the distribution world. So we knew that was big, and that would apply to not just construction, for example, but many types of distribution. And then manufacturing, we kind of saw that as well. But I think, for example, high street retail and big box retail and some of the different countries that we're winning customers in, that's quite surprising. That literally we're being selected as the best provider globally in countries where we don't even have people and in industries where we don't necessarily have a massive customer base. I think that's been a big surprise for me.
Yeah. For me, the size of the market is huge, and I always knew that. Trillions upon trillions of dollars on the supply chain that we're disrupting. Trillions. I think for me is more the speed and not the unbelievable speed that we're doing, because we are. Unbelievable. 150% year-over-year growth in this market we're accelerating. It's crazy. An attribute to the team. So well done, team. Well done, team. Well done. I think the most amazing part is, it's hard to say this, we could go faster. We can go faster. Our win rates are the highest at any company I've ever worked at, and I've worked at the best software companies. Our win rates are super high. Our coverage, our inbound, our conversion rate. The market is so big, and we're the market leader. We can actually go faster. We can actually go faster. So I'm shocked that we can go faster and still accomplish what we're doing. A lot of room to grow.
Wow.
A lot of room to grow.
Cole's targets are going up.
His quota is definitely going up.
His target probably went up. He tripled targets. Yeah, stretch.
In the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, the last 10 minutes. But you talk about like speed, talk about the growth. Like you say that, Jerry, we can go faster.
Can.
How do you like talk to us about like that culture that you've established? Like how do you motivate your people to like actually buy into the fact that hey, we can actually grow at a faster pace than what we're achieving today? How do you go about putting that into play?
Good vibes. Good vibes. I wish I could take credit for it. I wish I could sit here and say, I'm going to go set the pace, and like the culture and the speed and the commitment to being successful is already here. Andrew had put that in place with David, Mr. Hunt, and they had created that already. I just helped bring and put a little American twist on it. So I wish I could take the credit for that. That was already in place.
And Andrew, like just to riff off what Jerry mentioned in terms of the vision and the culture, did you really envision it to look like this, the way it is right now? Or like what was the original thought about what culture looked like to you and how it's transformed today?
No, I mean, I've always had big ambitions and big aspirations, and I knew we would get here, but I do think it's grown faster than I expected and faster than even I imagined in all fronts. So in terms of, the number of customers that we now have, the number of enablees that we now have, the amount of funding we've raised, doing literally a Series A and a B and a C within 2 years. And I didn't expect it to be that fast. So I definitely saw a large company, and we're still, by the way, in the early stages of creating that, but I didn't imagine that we would get to this point within, 2 or 3 years of starting in North America. That was a surprise.
You going to go ahead or
This is all you.
My turn. So one thing that I've always been inspired by you is that you make it so important to know pretty much every customer, that we meet. And that's obviously how we got to know each other. So if I think about that and I think about kind of Enable's journey and how awesome it is, and we're not finished yet. So if we think ahead and we think, right, we're going to make a movie about Enable, okay?
Okay.
And we've got this, this awesome leader. We've got this mesmerizing, sales, absolute, motivator. Actors who will be playing your roles, who would they be?
Let me go first.
You go first.
Geez, that's a really hard one. They'd obviously have to be tall, dark, and handsome. Obviously.
You want me to play you?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? You want me?
I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They'd have to be witty, charming, mesmerizing. Brad Pitt isn't good looking enough, obviously. Who would it be? I'd have to bring somebody from the past. It'd have to be the late Bruce Lee. He'd be perfect. Trendsetter.
I like
Wow.
that. I like that.
Did not see that one coming.
Oh, I didn't see that one coming at all.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of looking at it. Interesting criteria.
That's kind of
character
probably-
breaking.
You've got to up
You
the
like-
bar
you
from
like
that
water.
one.
That's what Bruce
Do
Lee
you like
said.
water?
Yeah.
How do you better that?
I was told by a couple of people that I look like the most recent Q out of Bond. What's the name? What do you know what his name is?
No, I don't.
No, the Q in the recent Bond films. But that's like a visual.
Idris Elba.
Well,
thing.
well, really.
In the audience,
That's
anyone knows you?
But it's also
Anyone have Google?
Yeah, that person who kind of innovates, and so that's
Yeah. So you can tell that my knowledge of films here is very extensive, as you can
I'd
tell.
go with somebody better looking. Not that I'm after promotion or anything, but just
Well, are you an actor as well? I know you're very multi-talented, Mark. You've got lots of strings
You're
to
a
your bow.
professor.
A professor,
I'm just
and an
making it up as
accountant,
I go
and an
along,
actor. Yeah.
Mostly. But yeah, anybody come to mind?
So I think I quite fancy the kind of like super real reality of something like The Matrix, I reckon. So I reckon, we're kind of defying gravity and, creating something here which is, we're sort of distorting reality. So I quite like The Matrix. So I'd go with, how about Keanu Reeves? I think he's quite dark, isn't he? Dark hair? Yeah?
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Like Neo.
I can see the resemblance.
Yeah.
You are Enable's Neo.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes, thanks. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hold on. We have a comment from Kale Parks. Ben Winshaw.
Okay.
How you know?
Okay,
So now
thank
we
you.
know. Now we know.
That's the
Benjamin
Q
Shaw.
in Bond.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Good,
Thanks,
good job.
Kale.
Good job, Kale.
You learn something on these, kind of
Yeah.
webinars as well.
That's really good. Exceeding expectations.
So I've got a question that I've been told I have to ask by my boss,
Okay.
specifically to Jerry.
Okay.
I don't know what this means,
Okay.
but he said, I must
only
ask
guess.
you
Sean,
about the
I can
Niners and the Eagles
The Niners and the Eagles.
and how you're feeling about what's happened recently.
Yes, I remember that. I remember thinking to myself, the Niners have won 5 Super Bowls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sean can't count that high. Because he's from Philadelphia, and so he can count to 1, because that's how many Super Bowls the Philadelphia Eagles have won. 1. So that's how I feel, Sean.
Thank you. I'm not sure I'll be welcome for asking that one now. So I think there's something we need to do.
Yes, definitely. There is something that we need to. We haven't done this in a while. Like we used to we said we were giving away socks. We said that from episode 1. Enable branded socks. And the audience that has been tuning in from day 1 has been so excited to receive these socks. Not these ones. But I think we owe it to a true, loyal member of the audience has been tuning in from day 1. And you can mention his name if you want.
Yeah. So probably the worst kept secret. Cole, why don't you come up and collect your socks?
Mark, you should have.
Would you like to say something to the whole world?
Oh, don't give him a mic.
Look,
Well,
I'm going to
there's-
show those to the camera as well.
Our 5th company value, apparently, according to Jerry, is that I'm not allowed to speak on the mic, and that's okay. But I'm just so grateful for these socks, Mark. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Cole.
Thanks for having me on.
He's been waiting from day 1, and that was like about what, like 2-3 months ago since we started this journey in terms of helping to tell that enable story, having to weave in the different themes related to rebate management and the value that we offer the marketplace. But my closing question to the both of you, we've talked about vision, we talked about growing faster, we talked about the theme of today's sales kickoff, which is to raise the bar. What does the future look like for Enable?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we really are just in our early forming years of this company and this industry. We're defining this category, and this whole show, I guess, is part of that, of really creating this community and shaping how companies and supply chains use rebates to drive behavior. I mean, the vision is really to empower partner ecosystems. Okay, so really have manufacturers and distributors and retailers working closely together so they can serve customers better. That's really what this is all about. And we have the privilege to be able to influence that, provide great technology, great knowledge, great support, and we're literally just in the beginning stages of building that right now. So,
and you've bought enough tall boys to keep Jerry going.
Part of my contract, unlimited tall boys.
exactly. So yeah, I think we're at the start of an exciting journey here. What do you think, Jerry?
Absolutely. I'm really excited, not for next year or the year after when we're going to go faster. We're going to go faster. Hard to believe that. We're going to go faster. But creating the category and defining that, being the next DocuSign, being the next Salesforce, being the next Workday that is going to create this category. So it's really an exciting time here at Enable.
That's awesome because, the trajectory is just high for Enable. We've seen tremendous growth. It's good to be part of that and experience of that, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the great thing about Enable. I came from Enable, having been a customer. So when customers join your business, I think it's saying something. And I think one thing that every Enablee really, we're really, really into is Andrew's vision. We have a product, but what's better than having a product is having a team that can just really take it, to new levels. And what we do, it does help people. It does make businesses more profitable, work better together. And so for us, we're actually just helping people in so much of what we do. So I'm loving it, and I'm absolutely grateful, Andrew, that, you give not only myself, but all 466 of us that opportunity to be part of something that, is so special. And so maybe one day we will see Keanu Reeves.
I'll make a special request.
And Bruce Lee.
And Bruce Lee.
And Bruce
Come
Lee.
on.
And speaking about community, servicing customers, this is my Oprah moment. Excuse me, everybody. But we're going to service this audience. You're going to talk. You're going to talk. You're going to talk. Everybody gets enabled socks today. So everybody that's tuning in, we got Jessica Grayson giving away enabled socks. Listen, we want to thank our most honored guests, Jerry and Andrew, to the stage. This is an amazing experience being here live in person. But before we go, we have another amazing event to promote, Catalyze, which is going to be taking place in Chicago, Chi-Town, June 7th and 8th. So please get your tickets. We're putting it up on screen. Go to our website, enable.com, Catalyze, you'll see it there. Please register. It's an amazing event. We promise you'll learn so much about the industry, learn about best practices, and how you could actually turn your rebates into a strategy for growth.
And
So,
I was going to say, and we'll have some socks there.
we'll have some talks there too. So, on behalf of Enable and all the Enablees, the Enablee Village, thank you all for tuning in. Big breath.